to introduce the next speakers. First one, we have the pleasure to have Stephan Bauer here. Stephan has studied civil engineering, same faculty as here, is the Faculty of Civil Engineering, Geosciences. He studied civil engineering at the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna and graduated in '96. After several years working as a project manager in civil engineering companies, he joined RAG Austria AG in 2008. He managed several projects in the gas storage infrastructure expansion program. In 2012, Stephan started with the development of interseasonal renewable energy storage solutions. He was responsible for the underground sun storage, I'm sure all of you know, and the underground sun conversion. The former was between 2013 to 17, and the latter between 17 to 21. Since 2018, Stephan is head of the Green Gas Technology Department at RAG, further developing interseasonal renewable energy storage solutions. It's my pleasure and honor to host you here today in Delft, and please.
This is the one forward.
I believe so.
Well, thank you, Hadi, for the kind introduction. Welcome back after lunch break. Hopefully I can keep you away from any siesta thoughts or something like that.
Yeah. How do I do full screen? Can someone help me with full screen with... I guess it's a little bit, oh, I'm sorry, it's a PowerPoint, sorry. I thought it's PDF.
I think you have to...
Yes, now it's done, yes.
This
Perfect,
button here.
yeah. Is it? Which button?
This one, and then then you have full...
Okay, oh, sorry, yeah.
Now it works, okay.
Please, sorry, now it's done.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm really happy to be here at the first underground hydrogen storage summer school. Since I've been dealing with this issue since about 10 years, I'm really happy that we have managed to have this first summer school on the topic. And I'm happy to report to you about our activities in that field. Let me start with a brief introduction about the company I work for. RAG Austria is one of the leading underground gas storage facility operators in Europe. We have a storage volume to operate of about 6 billion cubic meters, which equals, in terms of natural gas, to about 66 terawatt hours. So we are one of the largest operators in Europe. The unload capacity is 30 gigawatts, so we are talking about real numbers in energy. And we decided to improve or further develop that service in a way that we will, or we try to offer this service to the renewable energy industry. So we want to further develop that business and have started this about 10 years ago. Our storage facilities are of the kind of depleted natural gas reservoirs. So we have no salt caverns in operation, just depleted natural gas reservoirs. And after producing those reservoirs, we redevelop those reservoirs with these horizontal drillings to really have high unload and upload capacities. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the working principles of underground gas storage, so I will not go into further detail. You have the main components of a gas storage facility here listed. Now the question is, how do we get renewable energy in those facilities? And why should we do so? Sorry, that was too fast. One sidestep, we heard already about the different options of hydrogen storage. salt caverns, aquifers, hydrocarbon reservoirs. We often hear the saying, well, forget about hydrogen storage in depleted reservoirs. It's just feasible in salt caverns. Well, I think that is not a good choice to keep those away, because when talking about existing facilities, about 75% of the volume is located in depleted reservoirs. And if we change to hydrogen storage, we need even a larger volume, because the energy density of hydrogen is much lower. So I think it's wise to also have a look on hydrocarbon reservoirs. And that's what we do. Here is a picture showing the situation in Central Europe. Project partners from Switzerland sponsored this picture. That's the situation in Switzerland with turning the electricity system towards renewables, quitting nuclear energy and other fossil energies, and they rely then on hydropower, which is more or less existent, and PV. The wind potential in Switzerland is not that high. So we end up in a surplus during summer months and a lack of production during winter months. And we need some sort of seasonal balancing. That's what we heard already. And this problem even increases if we turn the space heat market to electrical heat pumps. Then you increase your electricity consumption at a time when there is no sufficient generation. And the problem of seasonal balancing even is increased. So we need a solution for that. The situation here on the North Sea coast might be a little bit different, but as we heard already, even here, the demand of energy during winter months is higher than the rest of the year. And this is just the situation in the electricity market, so we have to also decarbonize industry and so on and so on. So we're talking about real challenge for the future. Again, a picture showing the service which is provided by depleted or by underground gas storage, depleted reservoirs. It's more or less one huge cycle over the year. And this is a completely different service which is provided by daily balance, grid stability, which is provided by pumped hydros or batteries or things like that, flywheels, compressed air, whatever. This is fast cycles, more or less every day, and it's a completely different service than the underground gas storage facility. And in a renewable energy system, we need both services. So it's not working against each other, we need both services. Okay, during the past years, we have developed more or less two concepts of renewable energy storage. One is the underground sun storage concept, and the other one underground sun conversion concept. Both are based on a power-to-gas approach. You are all familiar with that, converting electricity to hydrogen. In the sun storage approach, we directly store the hydrogen. In the underground sun conversion approach, we store hydrogen together with CO2, and we want to start a geomethanation process, so microbial conversion of hydrogen and CO2 in a depleted reservoir. Another thing we are thinking about is carbon capture and intermediate storage, so not the CCS, permanent storage of CO2, but intermediate storage to also provide CO2 for any synthesis process. Might be a future business case, we don't know yet. Today I'd like to focus on the underground sun storage approach. Sun conversion would be a different or would be another lecture. Here you can see a project overview listing all the projects we have done in the field. The first two are the underground sun storage projects. Then we have 3 projects dedicated to the sun conversion approach. I will not talk today. And then we have listed 2 projects, European projects about underground hydrogen storage in depleted reservoirs. Representatives of those projects are in the auditorium, so we will hear about that probably in the rest of the week. We are happy that we are stakeholders in both projects on European level and also take part in those projects. But our own projects are listed above. And yeah, so I will continue to talk about underground sun storage. The first project we did was from 2013 to 2017. And at that time, the discussion was like how much hydrogen is feasible in the existing infrastructure. Yeah? A lot of people investigated pipelines and consumer appliances, but no one did for underground gas storage facilities. So we set up a project investigating about 10% hydrogen admixture to natural gas. That was the discussion at that time. It was a first of its kind attempt globally. Maybe there was a second one. Ariel is talking after me. So my friend Ariel, we had more or less a parallel projects and interactions with each other. Yeah, we had a look at the geological reservoir, we had a look at materials, we had laboratory experiments, but we also had a field experiments, yeah, because we didn't want to stick too much to laboratory experiments. We want to really showcase field experiments and to get real data from one of our fields. There's a final report available under that link. But what were the main results relevant for our follow-up activities? We had laboratory studies on storage integrity, the reservoir rock, cap rock, cementation, and we did these studies with up to 75 to 100% hydrogen, so to also have an upscaling potential. Steel grades were tested with 100%, 100 bar hydrogen partial pressure, even in a wet gas system, so that's special for gas storage facilities. And in all that tests, we did not observe any curtailment of integrity issues so far. And also the field experiments, we operated without any anomalies. So we are quite confident that we can also operate a field experiment at 100% hydrogen or 100 bar partial pressure of hydrogen. And what we also discovered in that setup is evidence for the geomethanation, and that was, of course, the basis for our sun conversion projects. And the first sun conversion project is also finished, has finished last year, and you can find a final report under the link stated on the slide. Now, the ongoing project is Underground Sun Storage 2030. It's our project with 100% hydrogen. The project title, Underground Sun Storage 2030, is somehow an answer or a remark to our government. They stated in 2030, Austria has 100% renewable electricity if you balance over the year. And then we said, okay, that might be feasible, but don't forget the seasonal balancing. And that's more or less our answer to their political announcement. So the principle is quite easy. Again, a power-to-gas process. taking electricity from the grid, have water electrolysis with 2 megawatt, and compress, running over a compressor into a small, isolated, depleted reservoir. The working gas volume of that reservoir is about 1.5 million cubic meters. At rates, we fill or withdraw the gas at rates with 400 to 600 cubic meters, and the operating pressure window is in that range. When you withdraw the gas, you have the typical gas conditioning, like you also have in natural gas operation. It's a free water knockout, it's a drying unit. And then we will investigate 3 ways of utilizing the hydrogen. One is injection into the natural gas grid, so we are in the blending system again. Another one is to purify the hydrogen, because when taking it out from a depleted reservoir, we will observe some mixing effects with hydrocarbons still in the reservoir. So a purification, and then we can enter a pure hydrogen market. We will not technically realize the off-grid or the trailer transport, but we will test a purification system. We want to reach a hydrogen grade suitable for fuel cell application. And the last way of utilizing is direct utilization in the industry, especially here in a steel mill, because they can handle impurities with hydrocarbons. It shouldn't be a problem there. Okay, so what are the general objectives? Of course, interseasonal energy storage solution. We want to develop such a solution. We want to prove the technical feasibility in a field test. And we want to compare our results from the field with results from the labs. And we also have included, I will show you the work packages later on, so I can talk about at that time. And also we want to find use cases for such a storage facility that might be a little bit different than the use cases for underground gas storage now. Here are listed all the partners in the project. It's a quite large project in Austria, funded by the Austrian Climate and Energy Fund. And also this project is a part of the hydrogen energy model region we have established in Austria, where all the hydrogen projects are summarized or integrated. Here is a list of all the work packages we have established. I don't want to read them to you, but just the general structure. We have fundamental research, so still some lab experiments and studies, scientific work, and then we have, let's say, the engineering, construction, and commissioning work for the field test, and then the operation of the field test itself. What we want to do in that project is to really run 2 full seasonal cycles of hydrogen operation. Yeah, and the picture shows, of course, we have met a lot on Teams and the like, as we are all familiar with in the pandemic situation. The construction works have started at the beginning of May. So here you can see a picture of the location, a very nice location in Austria. Here's one of the nice lakes. So if you want to visit Austria during summertime, it's a nice area there in Upper Austria. This picture shows the recompletion of the well, but actually, we use the same materials as for natural gas storage. The only things we changed is we implemented subsurface safety valve, and the ceilings were made for hydrogen, but the rest is more or less the same materials. Yeah, and these are the first works on the site for establishing the all the pipe works and so on. So here is an overview of the time schedule. We started in 2021. We have all relevant approvals by public authorities already, so we were able to start construction works. This will last until the end of the year, and the project itself will last until 2025. Another initiative RAK started last year, maybe the year before, is let's say to import hydrogen from the Ukraine to Central Europe. With a lot of stakeholders in that hydrogen corridor. We can discuss if this is feasible at the moment, but I think when the war is over, Europe has to think about how to invest money in the Ukraine and to get, let's say, infrastructure up again, and this is one option we think of. And as was said before, no matter if you produce hydrogen here in Europe or if you import it from other countries, you always need storage facilities, either for balancing or to operate your transport routes. So we think about storage facilities at the producing side of the pipelines, and again to structure the commodity at the consumer side. Now
we are living in an increasingly flexible and demanding world, and we are plotting a course for the future today. While we accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 2.7 seconds, a robot vacuum cleaner tidies up our apartment. We are online, always and everywhere, and we can control the heating in our home while solar panels on our roofs produce our electricity. In a world that is built on energy, it needs to be available all the time. And here's the good news: it is. Our way of life is unthinkable without energy. Particularly in our modern digitalized world, energy consumption will continue to rise sharply over the coming decades. Energy is one of the key issues of our time. Although we are all aware of the importance of energy production, many of us are only now realizing how vital energy storage has become. Without large-scale energy storage solutions, daily electrical supply would constantly collapse, especially during winter, and the transition towards sustainable and CO2-neutral energy sources would be impossible. RAK Austria AG is working today for a renewable, environmentally friendly and affordable future of energy supply for generations to come. Gaseous energy sources are the only way to meet the energy challenges of the future. Natural gas is the only resource capable of being stored in amounts sufficient to compensate for any fluctuations in energy production, ensuring that supply remains uninterrupted around the clock. The transition to sustainability will only be possible with natural gas. Renewable energy sources are dependent on sun, wind, and water levels. As a result, most of our renewable energy is produced during spring and summer. By converting this energy into green gas, it becomes storable and can be used year-round, even in the off-season. RAC uses several green gas technologies to provide clean and reliable energy supplies. Above all, RAC's existing natural gas reservoirs already guarantee continuous supply, both for industrial purposes and the public. As Austria's largest and Europe's fourth largest energy storage operator, RAC is capable of stockpiling enough gas to supply almost all of Austria for an entire year and provides its customers and partners in Austria and Central Europe with gas at high capacity. This means RAG is and will remain a vital part of the future of energy, enabling the transition to sustainability to be completed realistically, sustainably, affordably, and within the foreseeable future. RAG uses natural underground reservoirs as modern, sustainable energy centers. The concept of sustainable energy mining enables the production and storage of clean, green gas. The share of gas, and especially green gas and hydrogen, in the energy mix will increase over the next few years. So the future of energy supply will only be 100% green with gas. RAG, renewables and gas.
Facility. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. Yeah, to conclude my talk, well, we think that underground gas storage will take a major role in the future energy system because we have to deal with this seasonal balancing. We have experience with hydrogen storage since more than 7 years now. And we will go the step forward to pure hydrogen storage. We are very curious about the results we will achieve. Yeah, and I think, thank you for your attention. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Yes, so now we have time for questions. Folks online, we are working on the internet, so bear with us with these technicalities of hybrid events. So we have questions from here.
Thank you. Thanks for the interesting talk. My name is Hein van Gent from the State Supervision of Mines in the Netherlands. One of the things you always hear about when you're storing gas, hydrogen gas underground, and particularly in porous reservoirs, is the conversion to hydrogen. H2S.
Oh, H2S, yeah.
Which is not only very corrosive, but also relatively harmful for people and the environment. In your experience, how much of this do you see, and is that manageable?
We haven't, during our field experiments, we haven't observed a significant H2S production. Yeah. Our sulfate content in the brine is very low, so there is not much potential to H2S production. We permanently detect in a gas chromatography the gas composition, and we also take samples for deeper analysis, and yeah, no significant rise in H2S content so far.
More questions, so we have there, and then I come to Kishan.
Nicola Andrian of Geological Survey of Denmark. Do you have an estimate for the recovery factor of hydrogen in your storage project?
Recovery factor in the meaning of mixture with the cushion gas or the gas still remaining in the depleted reservoir? Or
yeah, so what is the way you define the recovery factor?
Yeah. When we did our first experiment with 10% hydrogen, we recovered about 82% of the hydrogen. But we were not able to lower the pressure again, and we saw that at the end of production, we still had a significant share of hydrogen in there. And so you can model the hydrogen which is still in the reservoir. after, I don't know, 1.5 years, we again took samples from the reservoir, and there was still hydrogen in the gas. So we didn't observe any fast reactions or anything like that, which would worry us.
More questions?
Thank you very much for the nice and informative presentation. I would like to hear about your ideas, because I would like to learn what are the main differences that you could find between natural gas storage and hydrogen storage. More specifically, I'm curious to know more about the hydrodynamic aspect of these two storage types.
I think I'm not the right guy to answer that. I would forward this question to my colleague when he comes back from his vacation.
We will have plenty also on
maybe there is another talk about
exactly,
so
we have more questions. One last one.
Thank you for your presentation. So I was wondering how much of the knowledge can be directly translated to technologies in developing countries. Like you have already researched a lot in Austria, so I was wondering if the knowledge or the learnings can be directly transported to, let's say, in India, such as, so that we can safely store hydrogen from the learnings of your project.
Yeah. Well, I think what's a little bit tricky about hydrogen storage that you really have to make a case-by-case study, because all we hear about potential reactions of hydrogen in the underground is really a matter of the geochemical situation, the temperature and so on, what in your reservoir, So we think that we have found a quite good situation for hydrogen storage in our Molasse Basin, in the area where our storage facilities are located. You have to assess really in your situation, but we will try to publish as much as possible. We also try, of course, to keep some know-how for us. But just you are invited to read our final reports and
discuss with him over coffee breaks.
Of course.
Thank you very much, Stephan. We will have you for the next few days. So thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.